A couple years ago, I installed this toilet into my bathroom. I never put caulk around the bottom to finish it off, and really you don't need to, as long as you have a good wax seal around the bottom. But after a couple years of looking at it and seeing how the rough tile runs up against the porcelain toilet, I think I do want to try to seal it just for appearance sake. And because sometimes using actual caulk can be messy and I'm not a perfect pro with it and it takes me a lot of time, I decided to try out a new product. And the product that I'm going to try to use is something I got off of Amazon. It is white caulk tape. And it's like an adhesive / caulk strip that you can place around any type of countertop, or in this case, toilet base, to try to seal it off and help give it a nicer look. The kit comes with an alcohol pad that will really help clean up the surface and really promote adhesion from the tape to the surface that you're trying to stick it to. So the first step is going to be to open up the alcohol pad, and pull it out, and then wipe down the areas that you want the tape to make contact with, all the way around the base. In my case, it'll be the toilet. In your case, whatever you want to seal up. And after that, we're ready to start applying. We just need to peel the paper backing that reveals the sticky side of the caulk tape, and we can start applying it to our surface and where we want to seal it off from. In my case, I am working around the toilet, so I'm going to start it on the far end, which is harder to see, so that the starting joint is not as visible, and just wrap it all the way around. Placing down the tape is relatively easy. There's not much to it. And the best thing is the tape is somewhat stretchable and flexible. So stretch it a little bit as you place it down, and it'll really help it to adhere to whatever curve and shapes that you want to do. Especially around bends and turns, you want to stretch the tape a little bit as it goes around so it has that perfect shape. If you don't stretch the tape, you can end up with little cricks in it. Now don't worry if you end up with cricks and bends that look like this, because all you have to do is peel back the tape a little bit and then stretch it out again and peel it around with it stretched, and then it'll adhere flat and smooth. Adding the tape down on a straight edge is a breeze. It just flies right across. I would still recommend to give it a little bit of stretch as you're going across. And if you wanted to, for tricky spots, you could use a little tool to try to press it into place. But as long as you're stretching the tape as you go, it's probably not even necessary to even do that most of the time. And going around turns isn't that much harder as long as you give a little bit of stretch to the tape as you bend it around corners. When I got back around to the end that I started, I just overlapped the tape a little bit, and then pulled out some scissors and cut it off. And then what I did is I actually took a razor blade after I had a little bit of overlap and cut it down exactly. But even with a little bit of overlap, if you don't want to get out a razor blade and make that fine cut, it still looks really good with that tiny bit of overlap. And here's the finished result. I actually think it came out very well, and I would use this again in certain applications. Now, this isn't going to seal out moisture as well as regular caulk, but it does have a good aesthetic. It looks good, and for some applications like this one right here, where I don't really need to seal the toilet off watertight because we have that wax ring, I think this works out great. I would recommend this in the future. It comes in a 10-foot length and a 20-foot length on Amazon. I would go with the 20-foot length because it's only a few bucks more and you get twice the length. I'll have a link to the product in the description of this video if you want to check it out for yourself.